Yes, that's right. I'm gonna review 3 games in one video, the Rogue Squadron Trilogy. Before I start off the review, I just want to say 1998 was probably the greatest year in video game history we'll ever have. Not only did we have Rogue Squadron, but we had other great classics such as Banjo-Kazooie, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and games on other systems that I haven't played like Metal Gear Solid and Half-Life. Anyway, back to Rogue Squadron. The gameplay objective is as follows. Select a mission, pick a ship, complete the objectives, get a medal based on your performance, and move on to the next mission. Now that's just a simple way of putting it, so let me try to explain things individually. Some missions only allow you to use certain ships, and knowing what ship can do what can really pay off. The A-Wing is the fastest, but it also has low shields, meaning you'll die faster, but because it is so fast, you'll most likely be able to outrun their laser fire. The Y-Wing is the slowest, but it can also take more damage and drops destructive bombs. The Snowspeeder only allows you to fly at certain altitudes, and of course, bring down those all-terrain armored transports. There's also a ship not even from the movies called the V-Wing. In this ship you can use Turbo Fire and Turbo Boost, but if you use it too long, you'll burn it out. And then there's my favorite.
The Incom T-65 X-Wing is the fighter that killed the Death Star. An almost perfect balance of speed, maneuverability, and defensive shields makes this the fighter of choice for Rogue Squadron, except when the mission profile disallows it. In addition to 4 blaster cannons, the X-Wing can carry a number of proton torpedoes. It's powered by 4 fusible thrust engines and requires an onboard astromech droid for peak performance.
So awesome! Okay, on to the missions. You're given a clear objective right at the start, but as you progress, more objectives will appear. It's only after you've accomplished every single one of them, then you will have cleared the mission. Most of the objectives will just be protecting a city, or protecting other members of the Rebel Alliance. In fact, one mission is rescuing Wedge Antilles from an Imperial prison train. What? You don't know who Wedge Antilles is?
An excellent pilot. Wedge saved my life at the Death Star, and I owe him.
Oh, this reminds me. You want to know why the Pokemon Stadium series had the best Pokemon battle cries? You can thank Factor 5's voice compression technology for that. Anyway, I should get back to how the gameplay actually works. In the top left corner, you'll see your ship's shields. Yeah, this is basically your health bar. And nope, there's nothing that'll fill it up, though it will slowly regenerate, as long as you're not in the blinking red. In the top right corner, that's your radar. And if you have the orange thing pointing north, you'll follow your objective if you ever get lost on a map. And in the bottom left corner, you'll see your secondary weapon and how much you have left. As mentioned earlier, the Y-Wings have bombs. All the other ships, besides the Snowspeeder, have a secondary weapon that will allow you to lock onto your enemies and take them down with just a single hit. Well, the TIE Fighters and TIE Interceptors anyway. Unlike in Star Fox, you have no barrel rolls, somersaults, or U-turns, but you do have speed boosts and brakes. And sometimes you can adjust your firing speed, and if you ever get any spare time, you can go looking around for some special items. After you've fully completed your mission, you'll be judged on your performance. There are 3 different medals you can earn: bronze, silver, and gold being the highest. Each one has a different specification on how you're supposed to meet it. You'll be judged on your completion time, the enemies you destroyed, your accuracy, and your friendly saves. Bonuses collected don't really count. The medals give you a higher ranking and can allow you to unlock some special missions later on. While only the 2 unlockable stages are actually from the movies, there's one stage that needs some special attention. Solist wasn't from the movies, but it was actually referred to in Return of the Jedi. But that's not the only thing this level needs to be noted for. Solist is hard! It's one of the hardest levels in the game. Why? Because most of the sound effects you're going to be hearing are homing missiles shot at you. Seriously, you're going to lose 2 lives before you even take out all of the homing missile turrets. There's tons of them. If you can beat this level with a gold ranking, then you've either played this way too many times, the Force is strong with you, or used a cheat code. I'll admit, when I first bought this game, I could only beat it with the Infinite Lives code. The other stage that's really going to give you a hard time is this one, where you have to protect these 3 stolen all-terrain personal transports and get to the Rebel checkpoint. Let me repeat that. You, one person, are defending these 3 all-terrain personal transports against the entire Imperial army. If you can at least get one of them to the checkpoint on your first try, then you truly deserve to be called Rogue Leader. Well, that's basically the only negativity I can think of, with some unfair missions, but I guess the game can't be too easy, can it? Plus, you do get some missions where you get to blow up all the Imperial stuff. That's cool. Not to mention this game also had one really cool secret, which was that code to unlock the Naboo Starfighter. Remember, Phantom Menace came out in 99, this came out in 98. This came out 6 months before Phantom Menace, so when they revealed that was a really cool surprise. I mean, that was back before we knew the only good thing about Phantom Menace was Darth Maul. But the best part of all, this was only the first one. Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader for the GameCube was an amazing launch title. When it first came out, there were magazines saying, buy a GameCube just for this game. Heck, I didn't care one bit about Luigi with a vacuum cleaner and a flashlight. I wanted Rogue Squadron 2. I mean, just look at this! The gameplay is virtually the same, so instead of me repeating myself, I'm just going to talk about the new things they put in. In the top left corner, you can now give commands to your teammates by using the D-pad. Also, if you've taken one too many hits and you have an R2 unit on board, you can automatically restore your health back to green. Controls feel a little bit more loose. They weren't as tight or as strict as they were for the N64. However, if this is a problem, you can now go to the new cockpit mode. The controls feel a bit smoother there, but you lose a lot of your sight for the surrounding environments. And you have this new feature called Targeting Computer, which will help you find your targets. Though the only problem is, now you're going to be scored on that in your medal. Even just using it once, you won't earn a medal. And now, dying will affect what medal you get. You can only die a certain amount of times, usually none. You also have more ships to choose from this time around, including the B-Wing, and a few other more popular ships, but I usually never use them. And in some missions you'll have to switch between some ships, sometimes more than once. While the first one only had levels based on the movies for bonus stages, you get a lot of them right away. In fact, the first mission is the Death Star attack. The graphics speak for themselves, and it sounds as good as it looks. The same is true for the gameplay, right down to even finding those little bonuses. And then there's the one level I never thought I'd get to play. This is like the Area 6 of Rogue Squadron. I mean, wave after wave of countless hordes of enemies. It's just, oh, I love it! And on a side note, there was one feature I loved about it. Audio commentary. Who puts audio commentary during the level? Geniuses, that's who.
Probably hovering around 100 ships. So we are pushing a lot of stuff around, and it's just, GameCube's just amazing how much stuff you can push around.
But I'm starting to run out of time, so I'm going to have to get to Rebel Strike. The gameplay is still virtually the same. The only difference now is there are some on-foot missions. The on-foot missions are just so bad, they make the on-foot missions from Star Fox Assault as much fun as Star Fox 64 itself. Yeah, it's that bad. The targeting is automatic, and if you're in a huge crowd, well, good luck with that. That part was really horribly programmed, but everything else is great. As far as new vehicles goes, there are only a couple. You do get to play around with 2 of the Imperial Walkers. You also get some hover bikes, including the indoor chase scene, and the Jedi Starfighter. And even though the Jedi Starfighter didn't come equipped with these weapons, I'll take it. That's awesome. The biggest improvement that Rebel Strike had was the ability to now have Versus mode and Co-op mode. Not just any co-op mode, Rogue Squadron 2 co-op mode. That's right, you didn't need Rogue Squadron 2, you only needed Rebel Strike. Then you get some more missions that are based off of the movies. Like the one where you get to fly the A-Wing into the Super Star Destroyer. Or where you're training on Dagobah, and you get to hear Yoda say this.
Feel the Force, guide your hands, and deflect the lasers. Press the B button.
And for the nostalgic fans, you get some of the old Vectrex arcade games. You get A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and there was supposed to be a Return of the Jedi, but I never found out how to unlock that. As a trilogy itself, I'd give it a 5 out of 5. Scoring them individually, though, there is a difference. Rogue Squadron on the N64 was fantastic for its time. Solid 5 out of 5. It's a great game to add to your collection. I consider Rogue Squadron 2 for the GameCube to be one of the best launch titles, and possibly the best looking GameCube game. Yeah, I said it. 5 out of 5. It's a great game to add to your collection. Rebel Strike, on the other hand, the only 2 problems with it is, sometimes it has some blurry, muddy textures, and the on-foot missions are just absolutely horrible. Even though it has Rogue Leader co-op, you have to judge it based on everything, and those on-foot missions hurt. A 4 out of 5. It's a good game with some design flaws.
This is an unfortunate turn of events.